I'm a fool for your love.
Hello and thanks for stopping by. If you're a new subscriber, karibu to my kitchen space. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. So in today's episode, I'll show you how I make my coconut milk at home, both the normal coconut milk and the canned version of my homemade coconut milk. So stick around and I'll show you this in about 7 simple steps. So step number 1, I start by breaking my coconut, and you're supposed to make holes at the top part of the coconut that has 2 black spots. You drill holes in there, then you pour your coconut juice that is found at the center of the coconut. As for me, I'm using my kitchen floor, and so I do not have a stable position to place my coconut so that I can make holes at the top, so I'll just do it at the side. I'm also using my old padlock and some nails because I do not have a hammer, and I had to improvise because we got to do what we got to do. At this point, I've broken my coconut. So break the coconut and extract the water that is usually found at the center of the coconut. And now we are ready for step 2. Step 2 involves peeling off the coconut flesh from the husk, and I'll be using a very sharp knife. Use a very sharp object to peel off, and make sure you peel as much flesh as you can from the coconut husk. Also, you should not worry about the brown part that comes along with the flesh, and I'll show you how I go about it in my other step. So step 3 involves peeling the brown part from the coconut flesh, and again in this part also use a very sharp knife to peel so that you can have an easy time because it is very hard. So I'll carefully peel, and at this point you can notice that my hands are becoming oily because this is a very fresh coconut and it is very oily. Then after we are done peeling, we'll briefly rinse our coconuts, and at this point you just have to do it very briefly because you do not want to wash off the juices and the coconut flavors. So in this other step, I'll show you 2 ways in which you can go about it. For this first method, you'll need a grater, and you'll grate your coconut into very small sizes. As you can see, smaller than this, but I'm doing this for demonstration purposes. Make sure you use the smallest holes in your grater if at all you do not have a blender. For my second method, I'll be using my blender, and you'll need to chop your coconuts into very small pieces, as small as you can depending on the strength of your blender. After you finished grating your coconuts, you'll add in some water and then let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then I'll be back with the next process. So the amount of water that I'm going to be using and that you need to use is 450 ml of water. If you have a slightly bigger coconut, you can use about 500 ml of water. I decided to use about 450 because my coconut was medium sized. After blending it for about 5 minutes, I'll go in with my kitchen towel, and make sure your kitchen towel is very clean. Then I'll squeeze out the juices as much as I can. Then I'll return whatever I'm left with in the blender, and I'll add the remaining amount of water. Then I'll blend it for about 3 more minutes. Then, as you can notice, I'll add coconut milk because I do not want to continue diluting my coconut milk. So I'll add in my coconut milk that I've already made instead of adding more fresh water. Then we'll proceed to squeeze out the juices using a sieve, and this is the second method, but I wouldn't recommend this method because there is too much wastage of the coconut milk. As you can see, this is the extra amount of coconut milk that is left when you use your sieve. I would recommend that you use a very clean kitchen towel or cheesecloth. So, and just like that, we have our coconut milk. So you might be wondering why my coconut milk is very light and it doesn't look anything as to what I buy in the store. I'll be back to explain the difference, and I'll show you the difference too. Let me first take my thumbnail picture and then I'll be back. So here's the difference. Our homemade coconut milk is ready to use. Whatever you buy from the store, you have to dilute it before you use. For instance, when I want to make 1 glass of rice, I'll use 2 glasses of my coconut milk with no additional water. But if I want to use the one that I bought from the store, I'll add 2 glasses of water and then I'll add my coconut milk separately. So in the long run, we'll have diluted our bought coconut milk, and that takes us back to what we've just made right here. But I'll show you how you can make your canned version of the coconut milk. You refrigerate your coconut milk for about 1.5 days because after that you'll be making some coconut cream, but our main intention in this video is to make coconut milk, not cream. So you'll refrigerate this for about 1.5 days, and then the thick white layer, as you can see, will separate from the water, but this water is still nutritious. It still has the coconut flavor in it, so you should not discard it. Now you can scoop your white precipitate, and then that is the canned version of the homemade coconut milk, and that's it. Stick around and I'll show you how I made my wet coconut fish. That was very wet and juicy from within, and I hope you'll enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed today's video. That's it for today's episode. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe if you haven't. Also share your thoughts, share your ideas, share with a friend, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.